Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you this editor I made for the Yamaha DX11 synth. It also works for the TX81Z and also many of the other Yamaha 4 operator synths from that time. If any of these controls on the front panel look familiar to you, there's a chance this might actually work with that synth. But I did make it for my DX11 and it has all the features for the DX11, so if you use it with any of the other synths, obviously the DX11 specific features are not going to work, like the different waveforms. This is a Max MIDI effect, so you need Max for Live for starters, and you drag it onto a empty MIDI track. I'm using track outputs in arrangement view, which if you want to toggle that, that's Control-Alt-I, because they hid that when they made Live 12, because you can also get them this way. So feel free to change it there too. The MIDI channel is very important, obviously, and the device actually needs to know the MIDI channel as well. Now, what it does is it automatically maps to that track's channel. So if I change that to 5, you can see it updates to 5. I'll put it back to 11. If you want to use an external instrument, you'll need to manually change the MIDI channel here, because right now this device doesn't read the MIDI channel from external instruments. I can't quite figure out how to do that yet. So the setup is you got MIDI sending out to the DX11 and also just returning. I'm being a bit lazy and using all-ins. That's just so I can use my controller keyboard as well. The only problem with this is if you hit keys on the DX11, it'll send them into Ableton and then loop back and play the note twice very quickly. So just keep that in mind if you want to play your DX11 while you've got this set up like this. I've also got the sound coming in on track 6. So let's just hit a key and just check that's all working. Yep, seems good. Now, what we'll do is initialize the patch, and right now you can see it's on this operator view with the 4 operators. We're all very familiar with this, I'm sure. If you've made it this far in the video, you probably do. Also, you see algorithms here. So all the classic algorithms for your synth that you're familiar with. Let's click over to LFO and Global. Slightly messy, sorry about that. This is the first version of it. Now, what I'll do is hit init, and that just makes an initial patch. And what we've done now is send the initial patch to the synth. If you're like hitting keys while you're initializing, just wait a moment, because these synths have very slow MIDI buffers, and sometimes it just takes them about half a second or so just to process. And let's play the keys now. So that's a default sine wave patch on algorithm 1. Just to test it, let's get a bit more vol. Let's turn up operator 2. So there's that classic DX FM sound we love. I'm going to show you just a couple of interesting features about this one. You can actually attempt to get a ratio. And if that ratio exists in the synth, it'll let you do it. I know that sounds a bit weird, but hopefully some of you get what I mean by that. That's because, okay, on the DX11 and TX81Z, you have these coarse and fine controls, and they're a little bit heavy-handed. See how each little notch of fine is a bit of a jump. So if we were to try something like 1.2, let's see what it lets me do. 1.18 is as close as we can get, but we can do 1.5, for example. That one exists. 2.02. Yep, that one exists. So this particular fine-tuning of the ratios is only going to work for the DX11, TX81Z, anything with the fine control. I used to own a DX21, and I was able to send the same sysx data out to it. That's how I'm able to confirm that this will work. But it did not have the fine-tuned control, so everything was done on coarse. So what we've got is all the classic envelope controls as well, level scaling, detune. It's so disappointing that the detune on these synths only does like 3 cents max. It's really not much at all. It's either 3 or 6 or something, but you really expect detune to go a lot fatter, I guess is what I'm saying there. Rate scale, velocity, envelope, so kind of all the typical ones. If you're wondering what that is when you have the LFO modulating the amplitude. That lets you say, I want this operator to be modulated by the LFO with the amplitude. I wish you could do that with pitch as well, unless I've missed something, but I don't believe you can do that. So we can have a look at the global settings. First of all, we can rename the patch. Now this is good because everyone hates having to type in the names on these things. It's like I'm programming an alarm clock for anyone that's old enough to remember that. So let's try something. Hey there. That makes things a lot easier. It's probably a good time to mention it can read from the synth as well, and that's actually why I've got it set to all ins. Might have buried the lead on that, but it's receiving sysx data from the DX11 as well. I've got my DX11 plugged into the MIDI import on my interface. So let me try changing a patch. I'll be very careful not to disturb the webcam here. It's in the perfect position. Okay, so play single, and let's try changing flat bell. Actually, what we should do is probably put the operators on the screen. My bad. So I'll change to another one. And it's pretty quickly reading that patch dump. And then from there, you can tweak the patch. So let's check that out. Classic. Sounds like Sega, doesn't it? I wish I had the wave shapes in more detail. You just got to put up with the numbers for now. Sorry about that. What else can I talk about here? The MIDI through is basically to deal with that problem where I was talking about if you play keys on the DX11 and it passes through. So if you're having any weird feedback issues, just take MIDI through off, but it is on by default. So now my micro key is not passing through to it, but it will still receive sysx from the synth. So that's all good. We should also look at the preset loading. So it can read DX11 banks and TX81Z banks. As I've mentioned a few times, this editor is mainly made for those synths. In the future, I'll look at adding support for DX21 and other banks. And in the past, I've had some success ripping sounds from Sega Genesis games because they use like 4-operator FM synth as a sound card, and you can actually get the patches out of games if you know where to look. I won't be providing those patches, but I'll give you the ability to do it, hopefully at one stage. So let's load a patch. Oh, I'm going to have to edit this part out. So now that we've done that, this preset menu fills up with all the patches in that bank. It does not send the entire bank to your synth in one go. I should make that clear. That's not the functionality I wanted. I just wanted to be able to pick patches from banks. And because of the way at least this synth works, I could be loaded on patch 15 and I want to replace patch 15. So I choose something from here, then save over patch 15 and then go to another patch I want to replace. So I can pick my patches that way. There's probably an easy way to do this and hopefully I'll figure that out. But for now, this is okay. Let's load one of these that have been tempting us for the last 20 seconds. Let's have a look over here. Pretty Rhodesy sounding, isn't it? For a DX, you know. It's really a fantastic synth, honestly. I've always loved the sound of these. I had a TX81Z almost 15 years ago, and when I sold it, I missed it, so I bought a DX11. I think there's maybe one small difference with the converters on the output, but the DX11 has a pitch envelope, which is fun. So we can take these TX81Z patches and add some pitch envelope to it. Sure, that'll make this one sound great, right? I mean, it doesn't sound like a Rhodes, but it's a fun little techno sound effect. It's another tip for FM guys. Use effects. FM synths are so dry and by default, a little bit cold. So reverb, chorus, delay, all these things work really, really nicely with FM. One thing I will say about these synths as well is that they're very expressive because of the different ways you can add velocity to the modulators and carriers. It just kind of gives the sounds a whole level of realism, and every time you hit the keyboard, it's just always a little bit slightly different, and it just surprisingly realistic for a type of synthesis that is often considered very cold and digital. I think it really just depends on what you do with it. And hopefully this editor lets you do a little bit more with it. Let me know if it works for you. Let me know if you like it. It's free, by the way. I should have mentioned that. If there's things that maybe don't work or are a little buggy, they'll be fixed. But I've been using it a fair bit, and it definitely seems to get the job done for the most part. So hope you find that is the case as well. And enjoy. Thanks for watching.